video blog, and today it's time for astrology in the news. And man, today is pretty much going to be an update show, updates on predictions I made a couple of weeks back. And man, of course, like I said, June's going to be a very active month. This is going to be an extremely active summer all the way up through the elections. Actually, next year too is going to be extremely astrologically active. So we're there's been this setup here from like 2014 to 2018. That's going to go through 2019 to 2020. I'm not going to get into all that today. Today I'm just going to be going backwards because a couple of things have come kind of true, and there's one that I want to update on. All right, so this is interesting. Did you guys see this in the news? Prediction update, Cali split referendum moves forward. So I predicted this probably about 4 months ago, but I didn't actually I'll be honest, I did not specifically pick this referendum. I actually picked the two-state solution. However, this one actually got on the ballot. Now, will this one pass? I actually think it's got a pretty decent shot because of the astrology of California right now and the way that the state is being managed. It's very unsustainable. The problem with this is this state doesn't really make this like breakup right here doesn't make very much sense electorally. So you're going to have two separate states two blue states and then probably a red state. If you're not familiar with California, most of the conservatives live in like the kind of like the outlying area in San Diego, whereas like most of the coast is pretty much blue states, say for like San Diego, which is more or less of a mix. So what this essentially does is it takes into one blue state, two blue states, which is pretty much the LA metro area, and then kind of like the the outer desert counties here in the San Fernando, not the San Fernando Valley, for the San Joaquin Valley, let's see, Imperial Valley and stuff like that. That's being split off to another state. So anyway, I wanted to take a look at California's birth chart specifically. So this is the transit chart for California. And if you take a look at the at California and it's when it was born. They actually do have a founding date for California. I think it was in 1850, forgot the exact day, but check this out. The inside is what's going on and the outside is the state of California, right? So in here we have K2 and Mars, and really what's going on right now is California is going through this Rahu K2 return, and this really started like a couple of months ago when this stuff really amped up, and what we're seeing is this push right here, whoops, there we go. This push right here toward really trying to break up the state here is being involved with this Capricorn. And taking a look at this, this is actually in, which house is this in? This is going to be in the, let's see, so Scorpio, California is not necessarily Scorpio ascendant, but let's go with the moon. So this is actually in the 4th house, which is the house of home, things like that. So as things go on, though, Mars is actually going to be, and K2 are going to keep transiting this area too. And eventually what they're going to do is, let's see, Pluto and Saturn are also going to start transiting into Capricorn. When I was really taking a look at the chart of California, I was really counting on this Pluto-Saturn conjunction that's going to be coming up here in a couple of years to really kick it into like high gear. So the question is this referendum going to pass, or is another referendum going to take its place? And taking a look at this, it's kind of hard to tell. I actually need to pull up the chart for election day, but taking a look at the astrology right now for California, it really looks right for some major changes. So really, and I mean, I'm looking at this K2 and Rahu, like K2 and Mars doing a return in the sign of Capricorn in California's government. So really, I think this has a decent chance of passing, but I'm actually going to do a revisit of this as we get closer to election time, because really it's the astrology on election day that's going to matter, because by then actually Mars is going to be right here on the cusp of Aquarius. It's actually going to just work its way into Aquarius on I think it's November 11th, which is in 2018, which is the next midterm election, which is when this referendum is specifically on the ballot. So I just want to kind of pull this up here, and taking a look at this, I see the astrology in California. California is going through a shakeup politically and also literally, and we're going to get into that later. All right, of course, as I predicted, the Russia investigation was going to turn around. Comey would basically be the center of negative attention again, and of course the IG report came released on the Clinton email and investigations, and this is actually a pretty big bomb on Comey. So really, if you go in and you read the report, a lot of the reports of the of the Hillary Clinton email investigation. A lot of the people that worked on that investigation are also working on the Russia investigation for Donald Trump. So yeah, there's definitely some bias going on within the FBI community here. So I want to take a look at James Comey's chart, and really what I want to focus in is the eclipse. Really what I've noticed is before, when there was an eclipse, some astrologers say that it takes about 6 months for the eclipse to be effective. Well, what I'm specifically referring to is the eclipse that happened last year on August 21st. And that was a major one because it bisected the United States. And so anybody that had planets in really Aquarius in the sign of Leo were very, very much affected by this. And if you take a look at Comey's chart, his North Node in Uranus and Pluto are all here in the sign of Leo. And this is going to be in his 7th house. So this, and also to the solar eclipse after that was in Aquarius. So this affected himself and his relationships with other people. So to me, I take a look at this and this isn't really that big of a surprise to me that this stuff is starting to come to fruition. So I think really the bottom line what I'm trying to get at is when you're in the effects of a solar eclipse and it's in the shadow, it seems like it takes about a year, like really a year to really start taking effect. So just want to keep that in mind. So, and this is also to Comey's transit chart. Now check this out. This is very telling. This is on, let's see, he's on the outside, and then on the inside here, I think I picked Los Angeles because it's one of the closer cities. Yeah, so take this look. K2 is transiting his Venus, and this is in his 12th house. Oh, boy. Yeah, the 12th house is a house of losses. You know, Mars is here too, so yeah, this is really going to affect Comey. Not there might be a possibility that it might be going to jail. I'm not 100% sure of that though, because usually there's more indicators of that. But when you have these difficult placements transiting, or difficult planets transiting the 12th house, it can show some sort of loss. And the 12th house, if you're looking at somebody going to prison, really the 12th house is not, it's the house of isolation. So like prison, asylums, meditation retreats, and all that in Vedic astrology are really all encompassed under the 12th house. Just, you know, and also too, if you have a negative 12th house, it doesn't always indicate somebody that's going to prison. It could also end up where you just want to feel an isolated life, or you can also have vivid dreams. So you have to take a look at the whole chart. And taking a look at his, what we could do is take a look at Capricorn. Now where's Saturn? Saturn's in the 11th here. And oh boy, he just went through a second Saturn return. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, so this isn't looking very good for Mr. Comey. These are some pretty difficult transits. And now if this Mars K2 thing would have been happening in the 10th house, that would have been different. But, you know, looking at Venus here, that could also indicate a divorce. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but this really, really puts a lot of strain on relationships. So we could be looking at maybe him going through a divorce sometime in the future. So yeah, I actually feel bad for Comey. I'm not actually, I don't harbor any resentment toward him, because I really think he was trying to do his job at the best possible time. If you go and you read that IG report, he was really in a tough situation. So did he choose right? Did he not choose right? I don't know. We could go back and forth on that for like ever. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the California earthquake prediction update. So if you are not familiar with astrology, one of the biggest indicators of events happening is when a planet stations, and what happens is a planet will go retrograde every so often. And what retrograde means is it appears to go backwards in the sky relative to the position of the Earth. So a planet will be transiting across the sky, and it'll appear to move backwards, and then it will move forwards. And this is all with the relative rotation of the Earth compared to that planet. So when a planet is still, though, when it appears to be going backwards and starts to go forwards at those transition times, those are the times when events are most likely to happen. And on the 26th, we have Mars stationing in the sky. Now, first of all, Mars is in its sign of exaltation. When Mars is in Capricorn, it's extremely powerful. That actually is the most powerful position for Mars. Secondly, it's going to be stationing here right in the middle of the sign. Now, this is not exactly Mars' exact point of exaltation. It's somewhere a little bit later in the sign. I think it's, geez, like around 10 degrees or so. However, when the planet's in the middle of the sign in Vedic astrology, it's stronger. So not only do we have this Mars stationing there, but it's right in the middle of its sign of exaltation. So this is very rare. Last time Mars stationed in Scorpio, there was that huge earthquake in the middle of Italy. So if you live in California or anywhere in earthquake, like an earthquake-prone area. Really the let's see, the last week of June is the week that really concerns me the most. And then the, let's see, then when Mars actually gets out of retrograde in August. Those are the two times when it's most likely to be an earthquake. So if you live in these earthquake prone areas, please, please, please be prepared, okay? Of course, this stuff is not a 100% dead on accuracy, but it's looking better than 50-50 to me. So we'll see. All right, so that's all I had for today. And of course, if you want to book a consultation, go to No Big Secrets Yoga and Astrology.com and click on book a consultation. All consultations are a half hour or an hour with me, and I record everything, and it's just basically you and me over the phone looking at your chart, which is pretty much is going to look like this. So, all right, that's all I had for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you live in California or even the West Coast, just be ready.